Elara lived a life of quiet, meticulously ordered routine. As a junior archivist at the city's historical society, her world was one of dust motes dancing in slanted light, the crisp scent of aging paper, and the satisfying, predictable weight of history in her hands. Her social life was a near blank canvas, punctuated only by the occasional, awkward setup by well-meaning colleagues. So, when the thick, cream-colored envelope appeared on her desk, it felt like an artifact from another dimension. There was no return address, only her name inscribed in a swirling, elegant calligraphy that seemed anachronistic. Inside, the card was simple yet opulent. It invited her to dinner at Le Jardin Céleste, a place she had never heard of, for the following Saturday at 8 o'clock. It was signed simply, an admirer. Her first, immediate reaction was a flush of heat to her cheeks, followed by a cold wave of suspicion. This had to be a prank. Perhaps it was Mark from accounting, whose clumsy advances she had deflected last month, trying some bizarre form of performance art revenge. Or maybe it was a group of her few acquaintances, pooling money for an elaborate joke at the expense of the lonely archivist. The invitation felt too perfect, too much like a scene from a film she would never star in. For days, the card sat on her kitchen counter, a silent accusation. She tried to ignore it, but its presence was a persistent hum in the periphery of her life. She looked up the restaurant. It existed, but its online footprint was ghostly, no website, no menu, just a few cryptic mentions on exclusive food forums calling it a mythical tasting menu experience that was impossible to book. This only deepened her suspicion. It was a prank designed to make her show up at a non-existent location or, worse, a real one where she would be turned away at the door, humiliated. Yet, a tiny, stubborn part of her, the part that still secretly believed in the magic she found in old love letters and diaries, whispered a question. What if it isn't? The calligraphy was expert, the paper heavy and expensive. The effort seemed excessive for a simple joke. The battle between cynicism and a desperate, fragile hope waged within her all week. On Saturday evening, staring at her reflection in the window of her quiet apartment, the city lights twinkling like distant promises, she made a decision. She would go, not because she believed, but because the not knowing would haunt her more than the potential humiliation. She put on a simple black dress, a suit of armor against anticipated embarrassment, and called a cab, her heart a frantic drum against her ribs. The taxi wound its way into a part of the city Elara rarely visited, an old quarter of cobblestone streets and unmarked, heavy oak doors. The driver dropped her off at the address, a nondescript building with only a small, polished brass leaf as a marker. Taking a deep, steadying breath, she pushed the door open. The world inside was not what she expected. It was not a restaurant in any conventional sense, but a breathtaking, indoor biosphere. The air was warm and humid, smelling of rich earth and night-blooming jasmine. A canopy of real, living trees stretched towards a glass ceiling that revealed a tapestry of stars. Fireflies flickered like living embers amongst ferns and exotic flowers, and the soft, melodic plucking of a distant harp seemed to emanate from the very foliage. There were no glaring lights, only the gentle glow of lanterns hanging from low branches, illuminating intimate tables set with crystal and silver. A maitre d', who moved with the silent grace of a predator, greeted her by name before she could speak. "Miss Elara, your companion is awaiting you. Please, follow me." Her mind, primed for rejection, stuttered. This was no prank. This was real, and its reality was more disorienting than any joke could have been. He was seated at a table beside a tranquil, koi-filled pond, and when he stood, Elara's breath caught. He was strikingly handsome, but not in a generic way. He had a quiet intensity, with eyes the color of a stormy sea that held a depth of age that seemed incongruous with his unlined face. He introduced himself as Julian. His smile was